Welcome, chosen ones. To the chosen ones, the rare, powerful souls who've always sensed they were different. You are here for a reason. You might not have fit neatly into society's boxes, and you've probably been misunderstood, criticized, or even targeted from a young age. It's not a coincidence. You have something unique in you, a strength and clarity that stands out, even if others try to bury it. You are built to disrupt the ordinary, to see through illusions, and to inspire change by simply being yourself. Understand this. People sense your potential even if they don't consciously realize it. They see a spark in you that they can't quite explain, a force that threatens what they know and trust. It's not because you're a threat to their happiness or success. It's because you challenge their comfort, their norms, and their assumptions. You remind them that life is bigger than routines and easy answers. But make no mistake, your path isn't easy because you're chosen. You're here to face challenges that would crush most, and yet you rise. You transform pain into strength, silence into insight, and obstacles into wisdom. This is why you may feel targeted, as though life itself is testing you at every turn. It's because you carry something priceless, a resilient spirit and a clear vision that's hard to find and even harder to silence. Let that be your encouragement, your fuel. When the world pushes, you push back with purpose. Remember, you are built for this journey. Your strength isn't about overpowering others. It's about standing firm in who you are, with a quiet, unshakable power that needs no validation. Chosen one, trust that you are exactly where you're meant to be, walking a path only you can walk, leading by example, one step at a time. I urge you to stay with me until the end as a dedicated guide for a thorough understanding. Number 1. You are unyielding truths in a world addicted to lies. You stand as a rare force of honesty in a world that's comfortable with lies. Most people build their lives around illusions. Illusions of who they are, what they want, and how things should be. But you, the chosen one, carry a clarity that cuts through all of that. You have a deep, unshakable sense of what's real, and that's not something you switch on or off. It's a constant, a presence within you that speaks louder than any words could. It doesn't matter whether you walk into a room quietly or speak out boldly. Your very existence disrupts the illusions others cling to. People around you sense that you can't be swayed by appearances, sweet talk, or empty promises. It's intimidating to those who live by masks and hidden motives because they know that, with you, there's no place for deceit to hide. Your authenticity makes people face parts of themselves they're not ready to confront. They see in you what they deny in themselves, and this stirs a discomfort, even fear, that they may not understand but can't ignore. You don't need to expose anyone. Your presence alone holds a mirror up to those who thrive on deception. That's why they may feel threatened by you or try to pull you down, to protect their illusions from the light you naturally bring. And though it's not an easy path, remember, this ability to embody truth is both your strength and your purpose. Number 2. Your aura exposes people's insecurities, even without trying. There's a quiet, undeniable power in someone who truly knows themselves, and you carry that power without even trying. When people are around you, it's like their own insecurities come into sharper focus, and they can't hide from them. You don't have to say a word. Your presence alone has a way of holding up a mirror that reflects back everything they're avoiding. That confidence you exude, born from self-awareness and inner clarity, feels unsettling to those still running from parts of themselves. They might not understand why they feel uncomfortable around you, but the truth is, it's their own discomfort with who they are. Instead of looking inward to understand this feeling, they often do what's easier. They project their doubts, fears, and unresolved issues onto you. They start finding flaws in you, criticizing your choices, even questioning your motives, all as a way to deflect from the real issue, the discomfort within themselves. This is why some may resent you, or even go out of their way to undermine you. It's not because of anything you've done, but because being around someone so grounded challenges their sense of self. Though it can be frustrating, recognize that their reactions reveal more about them than about you. You serve as a reminder that self-acceptance is possible, even if it's a path they're not ready to walk yet. You don't have to change or dim your light. Keep standing firm. Those who are ready will see you as inspiration rather than a threat. Number 3. They can sense you're on a mission beyond the ordinary. You carry a deep, unspoken sense of purpose, even if you don't fully understand it yet. People around you can feel it, almost as if it's woven into your very being. There's something different about you, something that doesn't quite fit with the usual script of life that most people follow. Those who live comfortably within the boundaries of what's normal or safe find this unsettling because, on some level, they sense you're here to challenge the status quo. It's as if they know you're meant to shake things up, to bring change that could disrupt the predictable paths they've carved out for themselves. This can stir a primal reaction in them. It's not always jealousy or envy. It's a fear of the unknown that you represent. You're not just another person going through the motions. You're someone with a potential they can't quite define but instinctively understand could turn their world upside down. Even if they can't put it into words, they sense that you're on a journey that won't be held back by conventions, rules, or social expectations. And that's why you might face resistance, even from people who don't fully realize why they're pushing back. It's as if your mere presence hints at the possibility of a world they're not ready for. But remember, their discomfort is a testament to your path. You're here to break new ground, not to blend in. Keep moving forward, and trust that your purpose will become clearer with every step. Number 4. You threaten the status quo by simply being. From the very start, you've stood out as someone who can't be easily molded, and that alone sends a ripple of fear through those who uphold the status quo. You don't fit into the neat boxes society expects you to, and that sense of independence is often seen as a threat. Authority figures, teachers, family members, bosses may have tried to correct you, to shape you into something more manageable, mistaking your self-reliance for rebellion. But what they're really battling isn't your attitude. It's the unsettling realization that you can't be controlled. People who rely on maintaining power find it difficult to deal with someone who doesn't need validation or approval to stand firm. Your refusal to conform shines a light on the limits of their authority. In their eyes, if they can't bend you to fit their expectations, then their grip on others might not be as strong as they'd like to believe. This resistance you spark often comes in subtle forms. Rules designed to keep you in line, labels meant to box you in, or criticism aimed at dimming your confidence. But this independence, this refusal to bend, is exactly what makes you powerful. By simply being yourself, you remind others that true strength doesn't come from authority or control. It comes from an unbreakable sense of self, and that's what truly terrifies them. Number 5. You hold the emotional depth they fear they'll never have. In a world that often rewards surface-level interactions and instant gratification, you hold a depth that few dare to explore within themselves. Your emotional intensity isn't just rare. It's a direct challenge to the shallow norms most people have come to accept. You feel things profoundly, think with remarkable depth, and seek meaning in ways that go beyond the superficial. This alone sets you apart, making people around you either drawn to you or unsettled by you. Sometimes both. For many, your depth is like a mirror reflecting back the emotional emptiness they've tried to ignore. It forces them to confront parts of themselves they'd rather avoid, their fears, insecurities, and the uncomfortable void where real connection should be. They may either admire you, seeing in you a richness they wish they possessed, or they may turn against you, labeling your intensity as too much or overly sensitive, because they simply can't understand it. Your presence exposes the limits of their own emotional experiences. It's not that you're trying to be anything other than yourself. It's just that the way you experience life reminds them of what they lack. In a society that often finds safety in shallow connections, your depth becomes both an attraction and a threat. And while it may make relationships complex, remember that this depth is a gift. Not only for you, but for those willing to dive in with you. Number 6. Your mind is resilient to manipulation. You've likely noticed that from a young age, people have tried to sway you, mold your opinions, or steer you in directions that benefit them. Yet there's a part of you, strong, unbreakable, that simply won't comply. This inner resilience is more than just stubbornness. It's an innate clarity and strength that keeps you grounded, even when others try to pull you off course. It's as if you're equipped with an internal compass that constantly points toward your truth, no matter how hard others push you to look the other way. This resilience against manipulation isn't just a personal strength, it's a threat to those who thrive on control. People who rely on followers to carry out their agendas, whether in personal relationships, workplaces, or society at large, recognize that you're not someone they can easily influence. Your mind questions, analyzes, and refuses to accept things at face value, making it nearly impossible for anyone to make you a pawn in their game. This independence can make you a target. Manipulative individuals and systems often respond with frustration or even hostility, trying different tactics to bring you in line or undermine your confidence. But your ability to see through deception and stand firm doesn't waver. This self-sovereignty is not only a form of protection, it's a quiet, undeniable power that allows you to navigate life on your terms. And deep down, those who try to control you know they're up against something they cannot conquer. Number 7. You carry ancient wisdom that defies their playbook. You possess a kind of wisdom that doesn't come from books, degrees, or typical teachings. It's a deep, intuitive knowing that feels like it's been passed down through generations. Something ancient embedded within you. This wisdom isn't about facts or figures. It's a natural understanding of life and people, a radar that picks up on motivations and intentions others miss. You don't need to analyze every situation to understand it. You simply know. You sense what's beneath the surface, the hidden fears, the unspoken desires, and the agendas that most are oblivious to. This intuitive understanding gives you a clarity that others struggle to attain, making you nearly impossible to deceive or manipulate. This rare awareness makes you unpredictable to those who rely on typical strategies and tactics. While others are busy plotting their moves, you're already seeing through their plans, understanding their intentions before they even fully realize them. It's not that you're trying to outsmart anyone, it's simply how you operate. You don't need to play the same games because you've already moved beyond them, and that unnerves people. When they can't control you or predict your next move, they begin to feel vulnerable, unsure of how to handle someone who isn't swayed by the same old tricks. To those who thrive on manipulation, power, and control, your wisdom is both a mystery and a threat. They can't mold you into their vision, nor can they predict your path. You're not bound by their rules, and that makes you dangerous in their eyes. You've outgrown the games they're trying to play, and that's what makes you a force that's impossible to reckon with. You're no longer a player in their game. You've created your own. Number 8. Your silence is powerful, not weak. Your silence is often mistaken for weakness by those who believe that power only shows itself in loud, obvious ways. They assume your quiet demeanor means you're passive or easily swayed, but this couldn't be further from the truth. Your silence isn't about submission. It's a calculated strength. While others rush to fill the air with noise, revealing their intentions and vulnerabilities, you observe. You let them speak. You watch their actions, and you absorb every detail, building a mental map that gives you insight far deeper than words alone could reveal. This quiet analysis gives you an upper hand that others rarely see coming. By not broadcasting your every thought or move, you remain unpredictable, and that uncertainty unsettles people. They can't decipher your intentions because you don't feel the need to announce them. Instead, you keep your cards close, moving only when it serves your purpose. This leaves others guessing, unable to manipulate or anticipate you, which is precisely where your strength lies. Your silence is a form of control, not over others but over yourself. It shows that you're comfortable in your own thoughts, that you don't need constant validation, and that you trust your own instincts. In a world where so many are eager to broadcast their every emotion and thought, your restraint is a rare and formidable power. It's the kind of quiet confidence that speaks volumes without saying a word. Number 9. You're wired to transform, not comply. You've never fit in with the crowd, and that's exactly how it's meant to be. Conformity is a concept that holds little value for you because you're not built to blend in. From the start, it's been clear, whether to you or those around you, that you're here to transform, not follow. It's not something you have to force. It's in your very nature. You didn't ask for this role, but you've always carried the energy of someone destined to shake things up. While others try to fit into the box society has drawn for them, you've been creating new spaces, new ideas, new ways of thinking. The world tries to box you in, push you to conform, but you're not interested in fitting the mold. You've always known, on some level, that you're different. There's something inside you that drives you to challenge the status quo, to make things better, to push boundaries that others are too afraid to touch. This is why they've tried to restrain you. You might not even realize it, but from the moment you were born, there's been a subtle, almost invisible attempt to control the force inside of you. Because people sense what you could do if left unshackled. They can feel that you're a disruptor in the truest sense of the word, and that scares them. You don't need to try to change things. It just happens because of who you are. Your presence alone challenges the existing order, and that makes people nervous. They know that if you're given the freedom to be yourself, the world will shift in ways they can't predict. You are the embodiment of evolution, and once that force is unleashed, there's no stopping it. Number 10. You refuse to play the games they use to control others. You have a unique ability to see through the games that most people play to control each other. While others are caught up in the petty manipulations, the silent power plays, and the social politics designed to keep everyone in line, you refuse to participate. You don't get swept up in these tactics because you recognize them for what they are. Empty tricks meant to create illusionary power. Your awareness makes you immune to these methods, and that's something people can't stand. It's frustrating for those who rely on manipulation to see you stand unaffected. They might try to flatter you, guilt-trip you, or use passive-aggressive tactics to nudge you into doing things their way. But it doesn't work. You don't react to the pressure they try to apply because you see through their intentions immediately. This doesn't just unsettle them. It robs them of the control they're used to having over others. When you don't play by their rules, they lose their grip. This resistance to manipulation is something they don't know how to handle. For most people, these games are a part of daily life, a way to get what they want without seeming too direct. But when you don't respond to these moves, they feel powerless. They begin to realize that you can't be controlled, and that makes you a threat to their carefully crafted social structures. They can't bully you, they can't flatter you into submission, and they can't make you feel insecure enough to play along. In a world where manipulation is a currency, you're a force that makes their usual tricks obsolete, and that terrifies them. Number 11. You are guided by an inner compass that can't be swayed. There's something unmistakable about you that others can't ignore. You don't look to anyone for guidance or approval. While many people are constantly seeking validation from their peers, society, or social media, you've developed a kind of inner compass that steers you, regardless of what others think or say. Your sense of direction doesn't come from the outside world, it comes from within. This is both refreshing and unnerving to those who rely on external sources to tell them what's right, what's worth pursuing, and what makes them valuable. They see that you're unmoved by the trends or opinions that seem to sway everyone else. You don't bend to social expectations, and that makes them uneasy. They can't predict you because you don't follow a script. You're guided by something deeper, something more personal. Your path is defined by your own understanding of who you are and what you stand for. That unwavering commitment to your own values, without the need for anyone to validate them, is a power most can't comprehend. This stability in your direction can be intimidating because it's something they can't control. People who are used to being influenced by others, whether it's through praise, criticism, or fear, are unsettled by your independence. They realize that no amount of external pressure can alter your course, which makes you unpredictable in a way they can't handle. They thrive on the ability to manipulate or convince others to conform to their own standards. But you can't be swayed. You're a reminder that it's possible to be your own authority, to make decisions based on your inner knowing, and that's a power most can only dream of. Number 12. You challenge their fragile sense of identity. Your presence is a silent disruptor to the fragile identities that many people cling to. While most construct their sense of self around shallow affirmations, things like social approval, possessions, or external validation, you see right through these facades. You don't need to say a word to make them feel exposed. Just being yourself forces them to confront something they'd rather not face: the truth about who they really are. Their entire identity is built on things that are superficial, and you, with your authenticity, challenge that at its core. This isn't something you consciously do, but it's the result of simply existing as you are. You live your truth unapologetically, and that in itself is a threat to people who have spent years carefully constructing a version of themselves that fits societal expectations. To them, their identity is fragile, hanging by the threads of their accomplishments, approval from others, or social media followers. When they come into contact with you, someone who doesn't need those things to feel whole, they're forced to confront the fact that they've built their identity on unstable ground. Rather than dealing with the vulnerability that your presence brings up, many will attempt to silence you. They'll try to dismiss you, tear you down, or even avoid you, because facing the reality of your self-sufficiency makes them question their own worth. It's easier for them to attack the force that makes them feel exposed than to confront the fact that their identity is built on illusions they've carefully crafted over the years. Your very existence is a reminder that the superficial constructs they hold onto can be shattered, and that's a discomfort they can't escape. So instead of facing the truth, they try to dismiss you. But no amount of silencing will ever change the fact that you challenge everything they've ever known about themselves. Number 13. You are an alchemist of pain, transmuting hardship into power. You've developed a rare ability that most people simply can't grasp: the power to turn your pain into fuel for growth. While others crumble under hardship, you have learned to transform those very struggles into something powerful. Life throws its challenges at you, but instead of folding under the pressure, you use it to sharpen yourself. You're not just surviving the hardships, you're thriving in them. The pain that breaks others is the same force that strengthens you. What they see as a threat, you see as an opportunity to grow, adapt, and evolve. This capacity to turn struggle into strength is unsettling to those around you. People who buckle under pressure find it difficult to understand how you remain unshaken. When they encounter hardship, they seek comfort, distractions, and ways to avoid the discomfort. They'll try to run from pain, masking it with temporary fixes, but you confront it head-on, taking every ounce of suffering and turning it into power. This resilience, this ability to rise above, isn't just about mental toughness. It's about an innate understanding that pain is not something to be feared or avoided, but something that, when embraced, has the potential to reveal your true strength. You've seen firsthand how the darkest moments can lead to the most profound transformations. And this insight terrifies people who have never learned to use their struggles as stepping stones. They can't predict what you're capable of, and that unpredictability makes them wary of your power. When you're left unchecked, there's no telling just how high you could soar. Your ability to alchemize pain into power is a gift that sets you apart, and it's something others can't quite wrap their minds around. For them, it's easier to stay in their comfort zones, while you continue to rise, becoming stronger with every challenge you face. Number 14. You are unafraid of solitude while they fear being alone. You've learned to embrace solitude in a way most people can't even comprehend. While others panic at the thought of being alone, you find peace and strength in it. In a world that thrives on constant noise and external validation, you've discovered the power that comes from within. Solitude isn't something you fear. It's where you recharge, reflect, and grow. It's your space to reconnect with yourself, clear your mind, and sharpen your focus. This ability to be alone, and even thrive in it, is unsettling to those who cannot bear the silence. They depend on the constant presence of others to feel validated, to feel seen or heard. Without it, they feel lost, empty, and insecure. Your comfort with solitude forces them to face their own discomforts, revealing their dependence on external sources for emotional fulfillment. It's as if you hold up a mirror to their weaknesses, exposing how fragile their sense of self really is. This is why your peace in solitude makes people uncomfortable. It challenges their way of thinking and living. You don't need constant company or attention to feel whole. That's a power they can't understand, and it makes you an enigma they can't control. You're a reminder that strength comes from within, not from the noise of the world around you, and that realization is something they're often too afraid to face. In conclusion, chosen ones, it's time to realize the truth about who you are. You've always been different, and that difference has made you a target. From the start, you've carried a power that others can't understand, a force they've tried to suppress, control, or even erase. But here's the thing, they fear you, not because of your weaknesses, but because of your strengths. You've always been destined for more, and that's why they've been trying to hold you back. They fear the change you represent, the disruption you bring, and the power that comes from being unapologetically yourself. You are a force that cannot be ignored, and though they may try, they can't stop what's already inside you. Embrace the challenges, the struggles, and the resistance, because each of them has been shaping you into something unstoppable. Your very existence is a reminder of the potential for greatness, and the world doesn't know what to do with that. That's why they've always tried to dim your light, to make you doubt yourself, but you've survived every attempt, and now you're stronger for it. Remember, you weren't chosen because it's easy. You were chosen because you're capable of handling what others can't. So don't back down. Don't shrink to fit someone else's expectations. Your journey is yours alone, and as long as you stand in your truth, nothing can hold you back. You are not just here to survive. You are here to transform everything you touch. Thank you very much for watching until the end, chosen ones. You are blessed.